Hi everyone, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Amber.
And we're
Witches Talking Tarot.
And today we're going to be talking about inviting spring into your life, into your home, into your family during this season. We did a similar episode last season, I think, for winter. Was it? Yeah, winter? Inviting...
Or making your home a cozy, comfortable, welcoming, inviting place. And in a way...
It was wintry.
It was very wintry, fall-y. And in the same way that you make your home a cozy, warm, inviting place in that time of year, you make your home and your life a bright, airy, welcoming, inviting atmosphere for spring, as spring is springing, or once spring has sprung, or when you want to get it going even though it hasn't yet, which at this point, this is being released, spring's already springing, we know it's coming, but we want to invite the energy in just the same.
And I know this is going to sound so lame, but I'm like, might as well start the episode off with spring cleaning. It's a thing. It is a thing for real. You know, throughout all of winter, we have our homes cooped up for good reason. It's cold outside.
Out with the old, in with the new.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so we're preparing for the new start of the seasons. I don't know. Some people claim winter's the start. For me, it's spring. It always starts with spring.
For me, every season. Like, I definitely live seasonally, and every season has its own thing going on. And each season, there's things to do for letting go of one and inviting in the next. And especially with winter, you know, moving into spring, that spring cleaning, it's not just a physical aspect, it's spiritual as well.
It really is.
You can even say it stems from spiritual aspects. I truly believe, like, there's multiple different things that happen, but right around Ostara at the vernal equinox, there'll be Maslenica, which is a Slavic practice of taking a rag doll around town who is an effigy of the goddess Marsana or Marina, Mara, whichever epithet you use for her. The doll is an effigy, and she soaks up all that sickness and all that dankness that winter leaves behind, and then they burn her and throw her in the river as a cleansing. To clean out all the sickness, to clean out all the death that winter brings with it, because historically
it does. Well, and you know, with winter, it's so easy to get that stagnant energy in your home.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we have all the windows closed. A lot of people put plastic on their windows. I mean, a lot of people, if they don't put plastic on their windows, they put blankets on their windows. Anything to keep
it warm.
And, you know,
to keep the cold out. To keep what they have inside, and as you do that for an entire season,
the energy starts to stagnate, which is where the spring cleaning comes in. And we're not just physically cleaning, like you said, we're going through and spiritually cleansing and stirring up that energy. And a lot of times people have their doors and windows open. And we're releasing all of that out with the old and with the new, like you said. And, you know, personally, when I spring clean and I release that energy, I always go through and spritz my house with some spiritual, you know, spray, or you can do some burning cleansings with whatever you use. Lavender is really good to invite in love and light.
Well, and I really like with the open window thing in spring and in summer. And I think I associate the scent a little bit more with summer, but in the springtime, you have the windows open a lot more often. So one thing that you can do while you have your windows open, so the air is actively like circulating, right? So blowing in, blowing out, right? You can light sandalwood incense and put it in your open windowsill, and it is supposed to blow prosperity in. But it also... Sandalwood is a great cleanser, and it's great for protection. So, you know, you can essentially like hedge witch twofer, right? I'm getting that nice scent all through my house, but I'm also getting that prosperity and that cleansing and that protection getting through my house without me walking around and doing it all. Yeah, it's in the open window, but that's also an old practice of putting sandalwood in your open window to let the prosperity blow in. But also, not just sandalwood, but cinnamon is great to do that with as well. Yeah. And it smells like you're baking cookies.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
Another thing is, so in the wintry episode, we talked about the soups and the warm and comfortable things. We're kind of moving out of that soup season and moving more into sandwich season. Well, I always call it, like, so many people eat sandwiches around this time of year.
Well, and I think of sandwich season specifically later in summer. Yeah, but in the spring, it's that incorporation, like you were saying earlier when we were talking, I think offline, but maybe we were in our Patreon only episode. You'll have to join the Patreon to check it out. But talking about using what's available because it's growing fresh now, and also using up what's left from your winter stores because hopefully, you know,
you still have some.
You still have some. You weren't starving. Yeah, exactly. So,
like, and to me, that's like the pickles and the pickled things. Yeah. Because, I mean, everybody ate those. Everybody liked those. But I feel like
you get tired of it after a while.
They're in the bag storage.
Oh, yeah.
But this is the time that bees are awakening and the pollinators are awakening. And I really want to say, inviting spring into your household is not just about the inside. You can incorporate it into your yard as well.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and we want to feed the pollinators. We want to, we want to, like, I'm a big person of leave the leaves myself.
Oh, absolutely. You have to leave the leaves because, like, if you guys don't know it, in the leaves, as they build up, there are insects, the pollinators. There are ground bees. Bees that don't grow in hives, they grow in the flower or the ground leaves. They are down there. You can't tell it's a bug yet because it's a larva. But if you leave the leaves alone, they'll be allowed to grow to become a full insect that can do its part in the whole course of making sure we have fresh fruits and vegetables this
season. Exactly. Yeah. And I just have to say, not to like go off or whatever, but like maybe wait to mow your lawn too. I'm just saying,
let those wildflowers grow. Let them be there for the pollinators.
They do.
Well, not just that, but okay. Like I was gonna talk more about the inside, but we can come back inside later after we talk about the outside. So right now is a great time. Like one way of inviting spring in is planting. Like you got to plant plants, right? So go out into your yard. Clean up your garden areas where you plant food. Don't mess with all the rest of it. Let all of that be good. But you got to prep the yard so that you can plant your plants so they can grow with the season, right? A lot of people have already planted certain things because they need that last frost to do. I always wait till Ostara for my planting personally, but right now is a time where I need to clean up my garden bed. I already cleaned up my pond. I cleaned up my berry garden bed, and now I got to clean up the regular garden bed, and I want to build an arbor out front because I want to grow like not sponges, loofahs. Yes, I want to grow loofah and other things like that on an arbor out front because then it'll add some nice decoration to my yard. I can use the bamboo that I have to build an arbor. Nice. It will look really nice.
Well, and you can do like multiple things with those too.
Exactly.
So like
I can have food and loofah growing at the same time.
A type of like what could you do? Tomatoes? No, there are different vines you could do that.
Right. I could do beans. I could do peas. I could do cucumbers. I could do squashes. So many options to do with that. But then I'd have shade out there as well, which like in the front of my house, I don't have a whole lot going on.
But that would be nice to set out there.
It would be nice. And it would be attractive to the eye, so my neighbors probably won't mind that I'm like growing out front.
Right.
But I'm using more of my yard for growth purposes instead of just a lawn that my husband insists on cutting because he was raised by like his grandparents. And so for him, it's like embarrassing when our lawn's shaggy. And for me, I love it. I
love it so much. My husband's the same way. And you know, I think it's because it's all about education, I think. And
and getting out of that mentality, right? Because like there was this mentality in the 1950s America of what it looked like to be an American.
And you got to have the moon lawn.
Right. Everybody's lawn looks the same and everybody's car's the same and you all have the same haircut. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's not how it's supposed to be. And like, you can let your yard rewild. Like, I would love to have a moss yard.
I would love to have a wild yard where the wildflowers grow, because you can. Yeah. It's just, getting there.
It is getting there, and part of it is like, okay, so part of it is what your yard is made of. Like, we have the privilege of our yard has been taken over by a lot of variety of local wildflower. It's very low ground growth and little wildflowers. However, there's still enough grass that grows that he's like, oh, gotta mow, and it's like, but you don't. But like, he's right. Eventually, somebody would complain.
Somebody will complain. You do have to.
The city will get called on you. It's really stupid.
It
Also, yeah, it is dumb.
But you can wait a little bit. You can totally wait a little bit.
You can wait a little bit.
Just give those pollinators a little bit. And the weather.
But you can also help those pollinators with your garden spaces and the spaces that aren't lawn. You can create wildflower beds. You can create areas strictly for pollinators. Like, I've even seen cute little signs where it's like, please don't pick my flowers, just enjoy them. They're for the bees.
I want to make one. We should make one.
We should.
I would
love that. Because, like, I've been doing some workings at my, the crossroads, because I have a little garden area right there. And so, like, I put my intentions there at Saladin.
That would be the perfect place to put something.
Yeah, and I fed them at Yule. And, you know, I figure for Ostara, I'm going to plant some local wildflowers. Like, I've already got some local wildflowers that grow there because there's like yucca plants there, and I see yucca all over the place here.
Yeah.
So like, it's got to be a local plant. Like, and it's not just in people's yards. Like, I see it out in the woods.
Everywhere.
Yeah,
I see it.
so
There's
like,
some in my backyard. I don't even know how the hell it got there.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And so it's like, that's a local plant for the pollinators, and I can put other local wildflowers there for the pollinators. And like right behind us, we've sown seed for local pollinators. Like, it's local wildflower blends, awesome. And you can go to, if you are in an area. They give them for free
online. You
can get them for free.
Yes, online. You can. Yeah, like
from like Arbor Day Foundation.
Yes,
and stuff
they're
like that.
trying to get people to plant these things, so you can get them for free.
They want you to have native plants. They want you to have native plants to rewild your area.
Well, I want to speak in reference to our listeners who may or may not live in apartments.
That's where I was going.
It
was because I was like, if you have the ability, because if you don't, then you can have like window boxes.
You can, and a good way to invite spring into your household is also for you just to get out in the nice weather, because when you go out, that energy, that positive spring energy, that's going to follow you in.
Well, and you know what?
In my opinion.
Say that. And I've been, so there's a thing called I think it's called a food desert. It's in the concrete jungle, and there's like no grocery stores anymore, and there are no trees. If you live deep in New York, or you live deep in like certain places in certain big cities, you can't do that. There isn't fresh air. There's not fresh air because there aren't trees around, because it's just all fucking concrete. That's why it's called the concrete jungle. So ways that you can
not to talk shit on the city.
No, it's sad. It's something that, you know,
I can't imagine living somewhere where, you know, in Pretty Woman, where he takes his shoes off and he's stepping in the grass and he's like, oh, this is a wonderful experience. But I've been doing that like every day. I can't imagine living in an area where that's a rarity.
Well,
to be able to touch the grass.
Do you remember when you used to say to me, oh, I'd love to live in New York? And I say, oh, no, the fuck I wouldn't.
I do still love the idea of New York. I can't lie. But
this is like in parts of New York or where these food deserts exist, you can't get groceries anywhere. Like, the only food around is in fucking convenience stores, and you know what kind of food that is, right? So like, you're not gonna find flowers, you're not gonna find trees, so you can bring those things into you. You can wear bright colors, things that make you think of the awakening spring, whatever that is.
Whether it's white or green. These areas.
Exactly. You bring that energy into yourself. You can do it with the things you wear. You can decorate your house. Like, I have 3 things that are Christmassy left. One, I couldn't get it down. I'm too short, and I was maybe angry at my husband, so I wasn't going to ask him for help, because, like, I can do it myself. I'm going to have that up. But otherwise, like, take all the Christmas stuff down. Take all the Valentine stuff down. get your spring on.
Dollar
Get your
Tree has
spring
so
out.
many spring decorations, and
Yeah.
they're not that expensive.
Well, and you know what? Maybe
make
maybe
it
you don't-
yourself. Recycle.
Exactly. That's where I was going.
You can
yes.
recycle and make
Take
yourself.
your brightly colored whatever and turn it into some flowers that you put on your wall.
I know
like,
people
there's
use
ways.
egg cartons all the time.
Absolutely.
You can use egg cartons as seed starters.
You can. use
I
egg
mean,
cartons
you
as
have to
seed
take it
starters.
out of
You
there
can
when
also
plant it.
make fake flowers out of egg cartons.
Yes, exactly. So, like, if you don't have the money,
However you
you
want.
have a lot of people have eggs in their house, or any sort of waste that would be thrown away. You can
Yes,
really
exactly.
use.
You can. Like, you can. There's so many things that you can do, even if you're trapped in the concrete jungle. Which, if you're our listener and you feel like we have completely ignored you for the past 2.5 seasons, we see you. We acknowledge your existence. We are sorry that it took us 2.5 seasons to realize and voice out loud like your plight, because we talk about fresh fruit and vegetables all the time. You can't get that without traveling a long period of time, except you don't have the transportation for that. And we understand. And maybe Amazon isn't able to deliver fresh things to where you are, and we understand that.
And that sucks. And I'm
it
so sorry.
sucks. We are so sorry that you and the animals live in those situations. Like, because crows that live in areas like that, their nests are made out of plastic and wires and shit. Like, so remind me to come back to crow's nests. But the point is, you can use your recycled things and you can bring spring into you.
Well,
You can use what you have at your disposal. You have lighter colored clothes. Bring them out for the season. Maybe it's still chilly where you are. Okay, great. You've got scarves, you've got wraps, you've got jackets you can wear over your brighter colored clothes that make you think of spring. You can bring the season to yourself, even if you don't see that seasonal change because of where you live, other than the biting of the wind. We see you and we acknowledge your existence and the plight that you live in, because it breaks our fucking heart.
Well, and I want to say,
sorry, the crow episode, when I was doing my research, made me look into that. The whole, like, concrete jungle food desert. And then Roz was explaining more about it to me. And I was just like...
Well, and, I want to say that...
oh, my God.
What comes with that is, you actually have to get up and do these things. And I think actually getting up and doing those things and that productivity in itself is going to bring that spring energy, that reawakening of that energy. Because, during
those
winter
floral
time.
scents.
Right.
Like, instead, we've been enjoying the spicy season.
Right.
Now it's flower season.
Right.
Get those floral scents out. Be a 90s kid and get you some cucumber lotion. Sorry, but cucumber is spring to me.
During the winter time, it totally is for me too. But during the winter time, we're hiding inside. It's historically, evolutionarily a thing that we gain weight during the winter time because we're hanging around the house, we're reading our books, we're watching TV. It's too cold to go outside and do things. Well, now it's time to get up. It's time to get moving. It's time to shake off that hibernating. I'm going to use that term, hibernating.
Yep, no, I have
winter,
been. I found myself. I was like
hibernating.
Like, Robbie from our local pagan community has been like, invited me probably 2 months ago to get coffee. He was like, I have this thing for you I want to give you. Got me a beautiful amber necklace. Thank you, Robbie. And he was like, let's get coffee sometime and I'll give it to you. And I was like, yeah, I would love that. And I haven't, because every time I'm not working, I'm like, well, I'm just going to lay down.
Right, and I think that's the winter energy.
Winter. I know it is.
Because
really
during the springtime is when everybody's like, let's get brunch.
Yes,
let's go out.
Let's get coffee.
And that is so good.
Let's
because
go to the market.
We're not, for winter, I'm always imagining the goddess and she's sleeping and now she's waking up. Well, you be a goddess. You wake up. Wake up.
We love you.
But, no pun intended.
I
I wasn't sure if you did that on purpose.
No, I call dudes butt a lot. Yeah, that's like, it's a term of endearment for me.
But I do like the idea of the floral scents, floral candles, as opposed to the apple pie, but I do love me an apple pie.
Right, but like for me, like apples are just like, they are a fall fruit.
Warm
in my
cinnamon
head,
apple
you know?
pie.
Yes, exactly. That is fall. You know what I mean? And I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just like, so we're talking about inviting in the spring.
So switch to green apple.
Floral scent. Yeah, well, green apple does have that spring tang. Yeah. Seriously,
apples are green.
Fresh onion smell, like green onion smell. That's a summer, like it's
totally
a spring and summer smell to me.
yeah.
Cucumber, spring smell. So it's like those bright, crisp smells instead of the nice, spicy, warm aromas we've been having.
And if you're a tea drinker like Amber and I, we've been drinking a lot of chai tea when I make it, which is like, you know, the spices, the ginger, the turmeric. I think now would be the time to kind of switch to
mint tea.
Because mint's going to be in season. Mint's going to be in season. So, like, if you have mint in your yard.
Green thing going on.
And I think Amber and I talked about this year, we're totally going to be doing some more of that fruit water.
Absolutely.
Did we do that last year? Or was it the year before?
It was definitely the year before. I don't think we did it as solidly this last year.
I would love to do it more solidly this year because we were detoxing like you would not believe.
God, the acne.
But in the best way. Because
Yeah,
I mean, it's like removing all of the toxins out of your face. We peed a lot, like a lot.
So much acne, so much urine, but good for your body.
It was good for you. So good for you.
And like it tastes great. And like I love fresh fruit.
I do.
Parents, look, okay, here's my PSA for a minute, guys. And you know what? Judge me however the fuck you want. I don't care. This is my experience as a human being. My mom never wanted to force us to eat anything. So, if she, according to my mother, her method was if we were like, oh, I don't like that, we didn't have to eat it anymore, right? So I grew up not eating peas. I grew up not eating strawberries or most any fruit. Because apparently prior to the age of 3, I was like, ew, I don't like it. Prior to the age of 3.
So she just never offered it anymore?
So she stopped offering it because she wasn't forcing me to eat it. But like she gave me applesauce all the time, which I fucking hated. But I was a goody fucking two shoes before I became a bad kid, y'all. I was such a goody two shoes, and my children bewildered me because I didn't think I was a goody two shoes. I just, as a person, thought that you ate everything your parents served you. So I ate everything my parents served me, even when I didn't like it. And of course, I never told my parents, like, ew, I don't like applesauce. Ew, I don't like smoked sausage. Ew, I don't like this. Because, like, I didn't think I could. I just was like, you eat what you're given, right? So, like, here I am, never being served peas. Always getting served green beans. My brother always getting served peas and never green beans, right? And I never had peas because my mom told me I didn't like them. My husband got me to try them, and I fucking love peas. Peas are amazing.
You put them in your egg salad, right? You're like talking about peas. I'm like, that was a good ass egg salad last year.
Yeah, it was.
It was the mustard.
It's so good. Yes,
I really think
the peas give it this fresh flavor too, in my opinion.
Yeah, because we made two different ones.
We did,
and you only had one specific type of mustard, and it was the grainy mustard.
I love
and I've never used that in my my egg salad, but I don't want to go back to the yellow mustard.
Yeah,
that grainy mustard, because every bite you got like a pop.
Yeah,
that shit was good. So you mentioned peas, and I'm like, I do like Amber's. Or is it yours or somebody else's?
It was Corey's stepmom's. Yeah. Well, I made it my own because it's not exactly how she made hers. But yeah. Like, but it's good, right? And yes, I eat peas now. But as a kid, I never did because my mom was like, "Oh, you don't like them. You don't have to eat them." Make your kids try it. Make them try it every once in a while. Like, my kids always had to have 3 separate meals. You had to try it like 3 separate times because some days you just like. Maybe it doesn't go with the meal in your taste bud opinion. Right. Maybe you're having a bad day and so everything tastes shitty. You know, there's all sorts of different stuff. But I went 20 plus years without eating strawberries because I was under the impression that I didn't like strawberries. Strawberries are fucking amazing.
They are really good.
So that was my soapbox moment for all you parents who like are reading all these things where it's like, oh, don't mention your kids, whatever. No, children need like this structure, right? Like my best friend's child, his biological father was a piece of absolute shit. And she'd say way worse, so I'm sure she doesn't even care that I'm saying this because I'm not even using names. But homeboy didn't have to eat anything he didn't want to eat. He was a chicken nuggets and mac and cheese kid. But at my house, no child gets to be that way. In my house, my rules, you're around my kids because my kids were the same.
You're not going to be a bad influence on my kids, basically.
Exactly. And after the first day that I tough loved that boy, he ate every single thing I served him. Mm-hmm. And he asked his dad, can I please stay here? I'm happy here. So, yeah, don't force feed your kids. But give them the opportunities to make choices more than just once. And don't take a 3-year-old's word for it because you know what? When they're 5, they don't even know what the fuck they told you.
So what I do with Theodore is I know he does not like green beans, but I still put 2 or 3 green beans on his plate in case he wants to try it. Yeah. You know, I don't want to put too much on there. I don't want to waste them. Mm-hmm. But I feel like 2 or 3, if he picks it up and tries it, he likes it, he doesn't like it, whatever. Yeah. That gives him the opportunity and it's there.
You might like it.
Exactly. Yeah. But on the topic of spring.
Anyway, but I'm just saying, look, because spring is a time of year where you can maybe, if you're not in a food desert, maybe you'll see fruit stands around.
Oh, hell yeah.
And maybe your kid won't like one peach because maybe it's not a good peach.
Well, right.
Or
and that's exactly. I saw a post that was like, kids prefer Cheetos. Okay, let's say Cheetos. They taste the same every time. As opposed to a blueberry, which one is sweet? Sometimes they're sour. Sometimes
soapy carrots,
they're bitter.
Man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fruits
fucking carrots
and vegetables are so they taste so different.
They do. Like carrots. I was always terrified
Cheetos
of raw carrots.
Really?
Yes, because sometimes it's a soapy carrot and sometimes it's not. And nobody understands what I mean by a soapy carrot. But it tastes like soap sometimes.
Really?
Sometimes, yeah, when the chemical balance of that carrot's off or something.
I hear that about cilantro. I don't think cilantro tastes like soap.
I don't either, but I've heard that some people actually it tastes really horrible. But but with me, it's not all carrots, and it's one bag of carrots from the same farm. 3 of them can taste like soap to me, and all the others taste great.
Weird. That is crazy.
Now a cooked carrot never tastes soapy. Once, because the sugars are coming out once it cooks, whatever. But raw carrots, as a kid, you say that, and it's when I was served raw carrots as a kid, I was always I need extra ranch. Because I
want to cover up that flavor.
Yes.
Well, you know what, I do want to. Okay, first of all, gotta apologize. I am burping up a storm. I don't know if you can tell. It's the soup.
Oh,
I think there's onion in this soup, or it's oniony, and I'm this happened with the ginger.
Couldn't tell.
Okay, cool. So if y'all
it was
hear that, I don't think
soup.
so. Oh, it was good. It was good potato soup. But I
Dutch potato soup
feel
from
it.
Germany. Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is, if you can't
strawberries in this cup, just FYI, like I said.
If you can't buy your own fruits and vegetable plants, but you can go to the grocery store, you can grow celery in a freaking thing of water. Or you can grow your onions. You buy green onions.
Yep, we have some in the kitchen.
Exactly, that you buy.
You can grow herbs in your kitchen.
Exactly. Well,
even
when
if you
I'm
don't have a
specifically
window.
saying, if you buy celery and you don't use all the celery and it goes bad or whatever, cut off the stalks that have gone bad and then put it in
the water. It'll grow out the middle.
Exactly.
Yeah,
there's
a lot of fruit. There's a lot of foods that will do that, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah. And in this day and age, if you're listening to us, and you can probably Google this shit.
Right.
And find out what your options are. And I don't say this shit to be rude to you. I mean, we're not going to tell you every single possible thing, but there's a lot of stuff you can look into. And you can find different ways to do things.
Well,
and then you can bring this stuff into your house. Even if you live in a food desert, there are small options for you.
Exactly.
If you are able to go to the grocery store, like Maddie said, then you have more small options. And a lot of grocery stores now, especially this time of year, do sell fresh herb plants.
Yes, that's where I got my basil.
Yeah, they sell them inside the fruits and vegetables area
And-
as opposed to the garden center.
Look.
So you don't even have to go to like a super Walmart necessarily
I'm gonna
to be able to find it. I don't know about Albertsons or Publix or any of that shit, but I'm gonna bet they probably do.
Well, and I'm going to throw this out there, at least in Missouri, because everybody needs to know EBT covers that. If you buy a basil plant from the produce section, EBT will cover that.
That's fucking
They
cool.
will EBT will cover seeds.
Fuck yeah.
I don't know if you know that. They will cover seeds like potato seeds, basil, any sort of food, carrots, anything. EBT will cover that.
And you say that, and then I also go, potatoes. They grow
They
their
grow
own
themselves
seeds.
as well.
Yeah,
like,
so
exactly.
like if you have a sweet
So-
potato or a regular potato that goes past,
Uh-huh.
if you have the ability to come by some dirt, you can grow your own
Yes.
potatoes. And because they're underground, like A, they have beautiful plants, like sweet potato plants and regular potato plants. A, they're nightshades, so keep them away from your kids and your pets. But B, they're beautiful plants, so when you're growing them so that you can get some food out of it, it's going to be pretty. And,
Well, and
it's going to
it's
help
so-
the oxygen in your space. So if you are in somewhere like, you know, an apartment or whatever, that actually having an indoor plant is good for your oxygen inside.
Well, and I mentioned the EBT thing and the well, you can grow like celery and shit that you are already eating for people that may not feel like they can afford to do these things. There are options.
Well,
you know what I
and,
mean?
like that's what I mean about like the potatoes, because like if
but
you buy a
potatoes,
sack of
absolutely.
potatoes
And it goes
and you
bad.
have 3 that go bad, you can just sit on the ones that go bad if they're not like mushy bad, but they're gonna grow eyes.
Exactly.
And then that is plants for you. And
Exactly.
you don't have to spend money. You got
you can
milk
make
jugs.
your own produce.
You can make you can
Oh,
make
what the
your own
fuck produce? I meant
pot.
no, you
Oh.
the motherfucking compost.
Oh, you can make your own
Yes.
compost.
But
You
like
can
you
make your
said,
own pots.
a
Because
milk can.
a milk can, a fucking apple juice jug, you cut the top off.
Yes.
You know, you put some tape over it so
And
it's
you're
not sharp
recycling.
plastic. You're recycling. And you don't have to buy these things at the store. Poke some holes in the bottom to make sure that it doesn't like get too moist in there, so that the excess water can run out. You know, there's all sorts of different things you can do that doesn't cost you too much.
No, it doesn't.
And it's
it may not even.
that wasn't even the purpose of this episode, but
It
I'm glad we
wasn't.
talked
I
about
am glad because I'm like, you have a budget for food. You have a everybody has a food budget.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
you can take out of that food budget and then grow what the fuck you need to grow, like the potatoes, like the celery, like the onions, and then
And you
like
know what?
you've got it out of the milk jug
Right,
container. Like
exactly.
it's all
'cause
you're not.
it's not
wasting.
even coming out of your budget because it's not
Yes.
extra money.
Yes.
This potato would otherwise be thrown away.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure carrots can somehow like
Carrots, I think. I know
something
onions
to do
can
with
do
carrots.
it.
Definitely onions, definitely celery, definitely like one of the like leafy ones, like lettuce or something.
Lettuce. Yes.
Lettuce.
Yes. Lettuce.
Yeah,
you
so
can.
like there's a lot of ways, and then so not only is that bag of dirt going to be your extra cost, in the end it won't be that much of an extra cost if you're growing yourself more chives.
Yeah.
You're growing yourself more lettuce. You're growing yourself more potatoes out of these things that were wasted. You're improving your air quality by having these live
and
plants,
the
and
productivity
you
of
can eat them.
actually getting up and doing it, because I
Yeah.
know I'm going to mention this because it's a big issue for a lot of people, myself included. It's just getting the productivity to get up and do it, and that in itself is the awakening of spring.
Yeah.
I think, you know.
And you know what? Another awakening of spring is using the old waste. So you talk about you can make your own compost. We're talking about taking all these food scraps that you can grow from, but making your own compost is that other food scraps you can't grow from, like your eggshells.
Your coffee.
If you're a smoker, your coffee. If you're a smoker, this may sound gross, but ash is the cleanest substance.
Smoke, like cigarette smoke, can you use cigarette ash, or are you
once it's ash, if it's
Okay.
just the ash, it's still the cleanest thing. Like
Okay.
ash, once something burns down to ash, ash itself is the cleanest. So this isn't the cigarette butt
So you
in
can
there.
use incense ash.
You
as
can
well.
use incense
Okay.
ash. You can use cigarette ash. You can use your ash from your weed. Whatever you want. It's going to add to your compost because ash in and itself has all these nitrates that help break other things down. That's why it's a great fertilizer. So, like, you have all this stuff. Even if you're stuck in a concrete jungle. You know what? Maybe this episode is just for you guys. Like,
I know. Well, and poor people. Shout out. Like,
I mean, there's a reason I know all about recycling.
Right,
y'all.
exactly.
Like, we reusing this motherfucker. Like, until Corey found some handles on sale. I don't know if you saw, he redid all the handles on the cabinets.
Oh, God, no.
Like,
they look nice.
Thank you,
What were they
yeah.
before? I don't remember.
Did
they
wood
have
and brass? They did.
Oh.
Some of them, but see, some of them were
They
completely
look
broken
really
off.
nice.
And then, because we were using this house, he had taken a block of wood and made a handle out of it for one of the bottom drawers that we couldn't easily get open. Because, like, the
Has that
cabinet,
been replaced?
that's also been
Oh my
replaced.
God, I gotta look
yeah.
because I loved the little block of wood.
You know what I'm
Yeah, I
talking
know.
about.
It had like the towels in it.
Yeah,
Yes.
he made that because like we couldn't easily get it open and it had the towels in it when the handle broke. So anyway, we were using this bitch, but so yeah, it's for us people that have to make our dollars stretch. You're really focused on it in this episode, and because
I don't want people to feel excluded.
We may not leave. Yeah, we may not live in the concrete jungle. We may not live in a food desert. It may break our heart that you do, and we have essentially possibly ignored you, and we apologize for that. But this one's for you guys, I guess, because like it's very important. Like, but you know, these are all ways you can invite spring in, no matter where you're at, because we are conscientious of the fact that everybody's living different lives around here.
Did you hear my stomach? Okay.
I have a couple of times.
Yeah, we ate, so I'm
did.
digesting. I wonder if y'all can hear it on here.
I
was wondering if you could hear it the whole time, but that was like a really loud ass grumble. Guys, we just had amazing sandwiches. Did we already mention that?
Is so good. No.
I don't think so. We had vegetarian sandwiches with cucumbers and tomatoes and avocado and hummus. And we had soup. And my stomach is rumbling because I am digesting. And I feel like this happens every time we eat. I don't even, when I'm at home, I don't realize I have a loud stomach. It's when I'm with other people.
Because you got kids running around. Like, this is very silent for recording purposes.
I know. And then it's like, I get with Amber and then I'm like, oh my God. I say Amber because she's the only person I get with because I'm stay-at-home mom, don't go anywhere. So I'm like, oh my God, I do have a loud stomach. So.
Was it nice to get out and go to the Empire Market earlier?
It was so fucking good. It was so nice. It's been such a great day, and I've had such a good time recording this episode. It's been very educational, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I hope the people listening take what we say and learn a little bit.
Yeah.
And you have anything else you'd like to add?
I'm trying to think. As we've covered the
outside and the inside.
I'm just gonna hammer in native plants. If you're in a concrete jungle, there are options. If you're in a food desert, my heart breaks for you, but there's still like things you can do.
If you're poor, there's ways to get around.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
like essentially, like that's.
This was a very inclusive episode.
The point is, I think it is a very inclusive episode. But, like, the point is, like, sometimes we get bogged down and we forget and we get stuck in our winter hibernation and we get stuck in our dark little holes where we're just trying to stay warm and we're filled in Punxsutawney just holing up and, like, we don't care if we see our shadow or not. We're going to stay in that warm hole because it's nice to stay in that warm hole. And when we do that, we get bogged down with a mentality. So when spring does spring has sprung and we're not maybe enjoying it or we're not inviting it in because we're still stuck in that mentality of the hole. We're still stuck in that hibernation.
Right.
And it's really important, not just from living seasonally, but it's important from spiritual and mental health that we bring ourselves out of that hole. We see our shadow or not.
You know, socially and environmentally important as well.
It is. So, like, whether or not we see that shadow, it's good to come out of the hibernation. It's good to celebrate spring. any way we can.
Mm-hmm.
And the more difficult it is to see the signs of spring, the more difficult it is to bring them inside with you in any way you choose to, whether it's because you're not going out or it's because where you're going out at has nothing spring-like to offer. Either way, there's options for you. And like Maddie said, it's good socially, it's good environmentally, it's good mentally, it's good spiritually, and all of it's connected. So when it's all of those things are good,
it's good holistically.
It's good
yes.
for you. So it's holistic medicine.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, I'd like to give a shout out to Victoria,
To Pam,
to Death by DVD.
to Melissa.
Thank you for being our patrons.
We appreciate you. If you would like a spiffy little shout out and all the fun stuff that goes along with being a patron of this show, including listening to our last episode that we recorded, that is not our last episode that's available on the air because it was a Patreon only, and it'll go out sometime. Oh, we're in March now, so sometime this month. And last month we had a fun episode for February with Dustin from Dustin Can't Read and Watch and the Rewatch Recap. And in January we had our other ghost episode. So there's a lot going on in the Patreon. So if you want that shout out and the fun stuff, patreon.com/Witches Talking Tarot.
You can find us on Instagram, on Threads, and on Facebook at Witches Talking Tarot.
And you can find us on the X at Classiest Witches, because we are the classiest witches you know.
Thanks for coming and sitting with us for a spell.
Oh shit.